Macmillan Audio presents The Disordered Mind, What Unusual Brains Tell Us About Ourselves by Eric R. Kandel. Read for you by David Stifel. Please refer to the supplemental PDF to view tables and figures. This document should have been included with your audiobook purchase. Introduction. I have spent my entire career trying to understand the inner workings of the brain and the motivation for human behavior. Having escaped from Vienna as a young boy soon after Hitler occupied it, I was preoccupied with one of the great mysteries of human existence. How can one of the most advanced and cultured societies on earth turn its efforts so rapidly toward evil? How do individuals, when faced with a moral dilemma, make choices? Can the splintered self be healed through skilled human interaction? I became a psychiatrist in hopes of understanding and acting on these difficult problems. As I began to appreciate the elusiveness of the problems of the mind, however, I turned to questions that could be answered more definitively through scientific research. I focused on small collections of neurons in a very simple animal, and eventually discovered some of the fundamental processes underlying elementary forms of learning and memory. While I have enjoyed my work a great deal, and it has been amply appreciated by others, I realized that my findings represent but a small advance in the quest to understand the most complex entity in the universe, the human mind. This pursuit has animated philosophers, poets, and physicians since the dawn of humankind. Engraved on the entrance of the Temple of Apollo at Delphi was the maxim, "Know thyself." Ever since Socrates and Plato first reflected on the nature of the human mind, serious thinkers of every generation have sought to understand the thoughts, feelings, behavior, memories, and creative powers that make us who we are. For earlier generations, this quest was restricted to the intellectual framework of philosophy, as embodied in the 17th century French philosopher René Descartes' pronouncement, "I think, therefore I am." Descartes' guiding idea was that our mind is separate from and functions independently of our body. One of the great steps forward in the modern era was the realization that Descartes had it backward. In actuality, I am, therefore I think. This reversal came about in the late 20th century, when a school of philosophy that was concerned with mind, a school led importantly by people such as John Searle and Patricia Churchland, merged with cognitive psychology, the science of mind, and both then merged with neuroscience, the science of the brain. The result was a new biological approach to mind. This unprecedented scientific study of mind is based on the principle that our mind is a set of processes carried out by the brain, an astonishingly complex computational device that constructs our perception of the external world, generates our inner experience, and controls our actions. The new biology of mind is the last step in the intellectual progression that began in 1859, with Darwin's insights into the evolution of our bodily form. In his classic book on the origin of species, Darwin introduced the idea that we are not unique beings created by an all-powerful God, but instead are biological creatures that have evolved from simpler animal ancestors and share with them a combination of instinctual and learned behavior. Darwin elaborated on this idea in his 1872 book, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals, in which he presented an even more radical and profound idea, that our mental processes evolved from animal ancestors in much the same way that our morphological features.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?